Real life isn't something I'd usually like to talk or think about, but a rather interesting all-new video idea here. No one has ever made a video like this before. And since this video is about DC20 spells specifically, I'm technically not lying by saying that. So, I'll start by setting the scene to get you immersed. Whichever ancient temple is nearest to you, you're in that one. And you come across a lamp. You rub the lamp to clean it off when suddenly a genie pops out. He says they'll grant you one spell from DC20 0 out of 10 in real life. That's the extent of what he can do, since earlier someone made a wish to limit his power, so that their hypothetical would make more sense. For simplicity, I'll say that for the purposes of spellcasting, you're the equivalent of a typical level 1 spellcaster. So your mana spend limit is 1, you have 6 mana points which you regain after a long rest, your prime modifier is 3, it's what you'd expect. So higher cost spells like Fly and spell enhancements that cause a spell to cost 2 or more mana wouldn't be usable for a while. I'd say that leveling up and increasing your mana spend limit is a possibility, but you'd actually have to do things worthy of leveling up. So either do something extreme like beat a pack of wolves in a difficult fight, or just spend maybe a few years consistently exercising, eating healthy, and improving yourself. It'd be tough, but unlocking the ability to fly would be great motivation. Throw me to the wolves, I've got this. However, generally I do think taking a 0 or 1 mana spell would be better. There are a lot of great options, and I'll be going over the ones that I think are the best. But even the bad options are still pretty good, since aside of hypothetical genies, you're the only one with access to magic. You could easily start a massive cult and get rich. The only downside, ignoring ethical concerns, is that even if you aren't technically breaking the law, I imagine that openly showing people they have an unexplainable magical power probably isn't the best idea in the long term. But if you do want to go the cult leader path, I'd recommend Tendrils from Beyond. If you say that you're a god, demon, or whatever else, and then someone Tendrils from Beyond to crush a car or something, whoever sees that is going to believe you. You're probably either going to take over the world or get taken by the government. High risk, high reward. If you want a safer option that won't necessarily change your life, but will improve it, Bless is probably the best. You can make yourself or someone near you better at fighting, doing essentially anything besides fighting, or avoiding danger for 1 minute. It costs 1 mana, so at least at first you'll only be able to cast it 6 times per day. But still, being able to briefly lock it whenever you want is great. There are plenty of daily activities that'll be improved by Bless, such as fighting wolves, gambling, and not bleeding. Charm can be good, but unless you have a job in sales, I don't think you'll get enough use out of it to justify choosing it over other options. And even then, there's the chance the spell fails. Then it's an awkward situation like, hey, I noticed that you ominously chanted and waved your hands around before talking to me. What was that about? The best strategy would probably be to preemptively cast it around 20 spaces, aka 100 feet away from them using the range spell enhancement while they aren't looking. Also, you should pretty much always be using the clear suspicion spell enhancement when casting on a person, otherwise they'll know what you did. But if you're smart, you will have slightly more riz for 1 minute. Honestly, casting it on the hypothetical genie might be your best bet. You could try to convince him to give you a different spell. Command I thought would be a good choice, but after rereading it, I can't think of a single useful way of using it. If you command someone to give you their wallet, that's just normal robbery. Even if you want to be evil, there are better choices than this. There is a very slight chance that you could command the genie to give you another spell, but I highly doubt that would only be the equivalent of a single action point. Disguise Self will be great for cosplay, identity theft, and impurity. Certain elemental spells like Lightning Bolt, Water Bolt, and Corrosive Bolt feel like they have potential since they can theoretically provide infinite electricity, water, or acid, but logistically, I'm not sure how you'd use them. I'm sure some people could figure it out, like, I would set up a system where I recharge batteries without destroying them, supply large amounts of clean drinking water to the people, or sell acid. But for me, I'm not sure how I'd go about doing any of that. I don't know of anyone that buys acid. Illusory Image will be fun, and it's a great choice if you want to be like a Scooby-Doo villain. With the Triggered Image spell enhancement, you can set up so a ghost appears whenever someone enters the old abandoned mansion that you're staying in, or whatever your scheme is. Invisibility would be good for stealing, but besides that, I don't think it'll normally be too useful. I guess for fun, you could sneak into movie theaters to watch for free, or sneak into certain other locations to watch certain other things. I didn't say anything, so if you thought of any inappropriate use for invisibility just now, that's on you. Also, at base, you can only be invisible for a minute at a time. So if anything, Disguise Self would probably be genuinely better for use in a certain unspecified, impure way. But moving on now. Message. Muffle only has a duration of 1 minute, which definitely limits it, but having it would make it at least slightly easier to record audio, especially on days when the cast try to sabotage me. So I don't know about you, but for me this is a decent choice. Summon Familiar is incredible. You can summon an additional cat that doesn't mess up your audio recordings. And if you're able to increase your mana spend limit, you could take the additional trade spell enhancement for speech. Then you could chat with your familiar normally and basically just have a loyal friend that can appear whenever you want. Personally, I have a lot of friends already. At least 2 in fact. But even for me, this would be great. And if you don't want friendship, you could just treat them like a servant. The only major downside I see is that you share health with your familiar. So if you order the brand new beefy potato loaded griller from Taco Bell and have them go inside to grab it for you, there is the slight risk of them getting ran over or something, causing you to spontaneously die. The risk is definitely worth it though. Telekinesis would be useful for moving boxes and things like that, but I think the main appeal is that you get to feel like a Jedi. That alone makes this a solid choice. But there is another cool potential use. I was thinking that you could probably cast telekinesis on yourself to sort of fly to a limited extent, but then I realized that telekinesis wouldn't prevent you from falling. Then I wondered when you would fall. Would it be immediately after you use the action point to move yourself upwards? Or would it be at the end of your turn? Then I questioned if you're meant to be able to move the target upwards at all, or if it has to be along the ground, since being able to move a target upwards to drop them would be kinda crazy. I definitely could ask these questions. I'm sure some DC20 dev would happily answer. But regardless of the answers, for this video I feel like it has to fall under Gene discretion. What would the Genie Man think? You could try to convince him to have it work a certain way. It'll be difficult, like the equivalent of a DC20 influence check.
Must succeed on a DC20 dexterity saving.
DC20?
But there is a chance you'll be allowed to essentially fly. Or maybe it'll only be somewhat convinced, almost like there are degrees of success. So it'll be like, I don't think that work rules as intended, but you know what? If you use telekinesis on an object you're standing on, like a carpet or something, I'd allow you to lift that upwards and fly like that, as long as both you and the object are 200 pounds or less. How's that sound? Bring it here, yeah. Teleport would be cool to have, but outside of coolness, I can't think of many uniquely useful things that you could do with it. It'd be helpful if you ever need to escape from somewhere like prison, but that hopefully will never come up. Although if you were allowed to take multiple spells, then they probably would be relevant, assuming you use some of the spells in the ways I've been saying. Translocation is kind of like teleport, but it's better for stealing and kidnapping. It feels a little messed up that a lot of the uses I've been thinking of are crime related, so I will say that you could probably be a superhero with this. If a criminal sees you and knows for a fact that you have the ability to teleport them, I don't think they're gonna go against you. And if the Genie Man is generous, maybe you could do fancy stuff like teleport handcuffs onto the criminals. You could be very creative with this. And finally, I think most healing spells are among the best options. You could live your life as normal but with less worry, get rich off of it, become the greatest doctor of all time, or just help people in general. No matter what you do with it, it's great. Specifically, I'd recommend Close Wounds or Regenerate. Close Wounds isn't exactly proper healing, since as it says, it just accelerates the natural healing process, but it doesn't have a mana cost, so it's spammable. And the main thing that intrigues me is the repeat save spell enhancement. I'm not completely sure what this would mean in real life, but I'm pretty sure it would help with a lot. Like if you got heartburn after eating the brand new beef potato load griller from Taco Bell, you'd probably be able to cure it. Regenerate costs mana, so it's a lot more limited, but it's proper healing. And if you're able to increase your mana spend limit, then you can also repeat saves. So if I got to choose a spell, I probably would go with Close Wounds, but I'd be extremely tempted by other options. Especially Regenerate, Summon Familiar, and a certain other spell that I mentioned. Alright, that's it. If you'd like, you can tell me what spell you'd choose, regardless of if I mentioned it or not. Now I'm gonna go eat the brand new